Today's video is slightly different as I'm not fishing, but we are going to go see some fish with a visit to Bristol Aquarium, which is one of my favourite aquariums in the UK. I'm aiming to visit more aquariums for these videos, so let me know in the comments if there's any you think I should go and check out. The main reason for today's visit is to showcase 3 species that I think would be difficult to find in the wild. These are the wreckfish, which are normally found very deep offshore, the short-snouted seahorse, which is a protected species in the UK, and finally the common stingray, which to be fair are being caught more often now, so I might do a trip for them at a later date. Right in the middle of Bristol, it's a must-see attraction if you're in the area. They have a fantastic selection of UK native species, from boarfish, wrasse and all the usual suspects. My first stop was to visit Josh, who's an aquarist here, to find out more about wreckfish. Josh, we're at Bristol Aquarium?
Yes, we are.
We've got a very big tank behind us and there's a few fish we want to talk about. So wreckfish, what are they? Tell me about wreckfish.
Wreckfish are a massive predator and you find sort of around the world really. You do find them in the UK, generally very, very deep, so you don't often come across them.
That's why I'm here today.
Yeah. So we have 3 in this tank and they're fairly young at the moment, so they will get quite a lot larger.
How big are they?
They're roughly just about 1.5 meters maybe at
that's
push,
young.
including the tail, yeah. So yeah, here's one just coming along here, quite a long overshot jaw,
Wow.
which is a nice big distinguishing feature of them. And they can reach about 7 foot, so 2.1 meters.
7 foot. They look a bit like a bass.
Yes, another name for them is stone bass,
Oh,
so
okay.
close relative really. And yeah, basically we'll eat anything that will fit in their mouth.
Yeah, I'm a bit like that. I then walked up to the top gallery when it was feeding time, as I was very keen to see these fish in action. One of the interesting things they've done at the aquarium is train the fish to come up to them to feed. They do this by putting a stick with a ball on the end, and when the fish touches this, they get fed. I was a bit worried as my GoPro looks a bit like this, and didn't want a wreckfish to eat the camera, but it had a go. Wreckfish can be found at an average of 200 meters deep, but can go much deeper than this. They are predators, eating just about anything that fits in their mouths. It was amazing watching them gulp down small fish. They're in the grouper family, and although the odd one gets caught, they'd be very hard to target on rod and line, so I think this was the best option to see one close up. I would think it goes without saying, but I'll mention it anyway. The aquarium gave me special permission to get these shots, so please don't go poking your own camera in the tanks. The fish will eat it. The next species was the short-snouted seahorse. Now if you've watched the earlier episode in the series, you'll know I went to Dorset to find its big cousin, the spiny seahorse. But I didn't find any short snouts, so here I am. They're much smaller and not as flashy. Short snouts, as the name may suggest, have a shorter snout and smaller smooth body compared to the spiny seahorses. They have a wider distribution across the UK, and while they do like eelgrass, they're a bit more adaptable in habitats, being found in estuaries and other underwater vegetation. Being quite cryptic in nature, hiding away, they often go unnoticed and tend to move quite slowly. Like all seahorses, it's the male that gives birth, with the female passing all the eggs so he can gestate them and give birth later. Seahorses are closely related to pipefish and just so alien looking, with its prehensile tail being used to grip around plants. It was great to see a few of them close up. The last fish was the stingray, or to be more precise, a common stingray called ravioli, who lives out in the mullet tank. Again, going at feeding time, it wasn't hard to get a good view of him. And I say him because most sharks, rays and skates, you can sex them by looking for the claspers, which are a penis-like organ. He's a relatively small one, but the females can get up to 80 pounds. Although we call a lot of flat sharks rays, in the UK the stingray is the only common ray species we get, All the others, like thornbacks, undulates and blonde rays, are actually skates. There's a couple ways to tell them apart, with rays giving birth to live young, having a barbed stinger and a long whip-like tail. Skates, on the other hand, normally lay eggs, called mermaid's purses, don't have a stinger and a shorter, fatter tail. Most stingrays are found on the southern English coast and southwest Irish coast. In certain areas, they can be locally abundant. Not too fussy on diet, with crabs, fish and squid all being on the menu. It was a delight to see these fish close up, and I got a couple of images of them also for an upcoming book I'm doing on UK fish. Thanks to Bristol Aquarium for letting me come along. I can't recommend going there enough. What species of fish do you think I should go after next? These videos come out every Monday, and do go and check out previous episodes. Cheers. Thanks for watching. If you want to support the channel, liking the video and subscribing to the channel really helps me out. But you can also donate to my buymeacoffee.com link, and all the money from that goes back into making new films for the YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. You can check out some other videos in the links here. Also check out my website and social media, as well as the podcast that I host, the Bearded Tits Podcast. Cheers.